really nothing more than what I said the other night. Very disappointing effort, really, no excuse for it. We weren't ready to play, and that's my fault. We just didn't, I don't know, just didn't seem to have the juice we needed. We're coming off a week that just wasn't run. Number one, we didn't play real good. Number two, it wasn't a real good fit, really, for, I guess, the situation we were in with our guys, and then playing a team like that that's physical, second leading team in the nation running the football, didn't help us. No excuse. We should have played better, but didn't help us the fact we had some guys out, and, we had two scratched in pregame. Colton Moorhead and Darian Ford were both pregame scratches. And, so, I mean, those things certainly didn't help the situation, but nevertheless, we should have played better than that. It wasn't a good performance. I think what's a disappointing thing for us as coaches is we felt like we were improving each and every week, and we certainly took a major step back and stuff. So, moving to Arkansas State, 2-4 on the year, 2-0 in the Sun Belt. Really impressed. I mean, to start 0-4 like they did. Certainly 3 of the games had to have been a disappointing loss to Central Arkansas. Had an open week, have come back, beat Georgia Southern, and then turn around and pretty handily beat South Alabama 17-7, but it was 17-0 till right at the end of the game when South Alabama scored stuff. So I'm impressed with it seems like they settled on some things. They settled on Hansen as a quarterback, and they were jockeying with 2 quarterbacks, and he certainly seems to have them going in the right direction offensively. I'm impressed with I guess you pronounce it Juan, little number 6. I love him. I think he's a really good football player. He's doesn't appear to be the biggest guy, but he's really fast and really strong. Do a lot with their tight end. Max having a really good year. I think 25 catches and 4 games. Doing a nice job. Defensively, what really stands out to me watching them is how they're able to rush the passer. And that's certainly going to be a concern of ours, and heading into not trying to certainly to get in third and long situations or whatever, but what stands out to me in watching them, they're not a big blitz team at all, but have 42 tackles for loss and 14 sacks in 6 games. That if you look at them, their blitz percentage is very, very low. So they're predominantly doing it with 4 down guys, and anytime you can do that, you guys know that you're able to play coverage in the back end and play zone and do things and keep the ball in front of you. But anytime you can pressure the quarterback and like they are, and not have to sell out and play cover 1, play cover 0, whatever, it's certainly a benefit. So it'll be a tough, another tough road game for us. Looking at their football team, I'm really impressed with them, and I got to researching them last night and up here, and I'm impressed with what they're doing as a program, because hopefully, we can build to that too. If you look at their team, of their 44 and their 32 of them are either juniors or seniors. And that's impressive when you think about the coaching changes they've had through the years. Starters, you guys listed, 19 of them are juniors and seniors. 3 of them are sophomores, 0 freshmen starting. So they obviously, all 5 offensive linemen are seniors. So they obviously have a mature football team. They've played a lot of football. They've had success. They started out not having success. They've rebounded, which doesn't surprise me, with the level of experience they have. Plus their kicker's a senior and their long snapper's a senior. So it's a mature football team that's played a lot of football, and that impresses me. I like to see programs, what I've tried to do in the past, where I came from and stuff, that's built like that. They retain players. They're playing with older guys. They're redshirting guys and moving them up, and obviously they're doing that in Jonesboro. So big game for us, big game for them. So we need to have a good week and need to have a good effort for sure.
I guess starting out, with that quarterback situation, is that something you guys have discussed as a staff as far as who the starter this week?
Well, Will's a starter, but I felt like it was a good time in that game, with the way the game was going or whatever, to get. I don't think you can really judge a quarterback unless he gets, in my opinion, I've always used the word meaningful snaps, not just, whatever. And, at that particular time, really all on in the fourth quarter, they had their starters in, they were blitzing, they were doing all their stuff. And I thought it's important for Caleb, if we're going to play him down the road, which we plan on it, to get meaningful snaps. And I thought that was a good time to do it. Will had also taken a pretty big shot too, if y'all were watching close and stuff, and came off. And but I mean, he still could have played. And I said, look, this is a time here. We're down 28, whatever it was, 28-3, 28-0, whatever it was at the time, and let's put him in there and let's see how he can handle the situation. I thought he did some really good things. So, but no, him coming out was not in any way, shape, or form an indictment of Will. Obviously the pick six to start the game wasn't the way we wanted to do, but we got to play a whole lot better around him.
Well, could we see Caleb get some more snaps? Is that just going to be kind of as the game unfolds?
We'll see, and a lot of that's going to depend on practice this week and see how they move from here. Really is what we want to see, and but they're both going to get first team snaps and second team snaps. Both of them are, and I said, Will will, at least today for sure. Will's the starter, and we'll kind of go from there.
Put a guy making his first career start on the road, and the chips pretty much standing against him at that point.
Yeah, I think the thing too, and it was how do I put this? It was a situation too. I felt like Auburn probably had the best defense we played against this year, but Auburn in most every game is pretty vanilla. They say, hey, our guys are better than your guys. It wasn't much of a secret what they were doing, and I don't care if they were playing in all the films we saw. LSU, I watched them play the week after we did against Mississippi State, and they pretty darn vanilla in what they do, but they say, hey, block 55, block that guy, and they do it, which is pretty indicative, actually, of SEC teams, believe it or not. Oklahoma was very vanilla. They're not a team. This is what they do, whatever. This was the most exotic team we've seen in terms of the looks they had, the blitzes they had, the zone pressures coming from both sides and stuff. So, it was a tough game. Really to go in terms of, like I said, I'm not saying they're better than anybody we played. Georgia Southern was as vanilla as they get, which, pretty vanilla. And I watched them against Arkansas State, and pretty vanilla. That's what they do, and stuff. But, on the other hand, New Mexico, they did a lot of stuff, and we knew that going into the game. And, so that's a pretty tough game to start.
This part of the season, talked about the discussion in terms of pulling red shirts off players and how difficult it is.
Oh, it's difficult. Yeah, that's about as difficult as it comes. But, we felt like in the situation that we are, and when, we needed to do that. Talk to Caleb. This is what we're thinking, and this is, Coach, you do what you got to do. If you need to play. To me, it's involved, and sometimes in doing it, but we felt like it was something that we needed to do.
You were talking about it that last week, felt like this was the week where, the guys didn't compete like they wanted to carry over to that. But is that, I think that's just kind of indicative of just kind of, being a first year and a young team and everything, and, how do you think the guys bounce back from that?
Well, hopefully they bounce back. Hopefully we bounce back the way we should bounce back. But, like I said, there's, in my opinion, and I told them the other night, and we'll tell them again today, there's no excuse. You're supposed to play, so, I don't know. I'm not saying that, they got a good football team. I'm not saying that we should have went in there and won. We should have did whatever. We should have played better than that. And we should have coached better than that. That's and so I'm not an excuse maker, and there are no excuses to not play to your potential. And not this,
When you look at this series of games, I'm sure you're probably aware of it or not, just being the first year, but this is a team y'all has to beat since 2009, and the players are kind of aware of how these games have gone over the last few years. Is that something you kind of address with them, or how do you go about doing that?
and I'll be honest with you, I didn't know that. So no, it's not something that I planned on addressing at all, because I didn't know that. I really haven't, to be honest with you, looked back and whatever. I watched last year's game in the off season, but I haven't really looked back on all that. I'm really more worried about what we have and what we have to do as coaches and stuff. And like I said, it goes back to the other day. I keep saying, whether we didn't play to our potential, we got to play better. That's on me. That's on us. I mean, we got to get them however it is, practice, motivation, do whatever. But, so I take responsibility for that. And but no, to answer your question, I hadn't really looked back and all that. I mean, I hadn't really got in all that. I guess our
Arkansas State's a team that has given the ball to the defense a lot. That's something y'all are really focusing on coming into this one.
Well, that's the thing. When they don't turn it over, they've been really, really hard to beat and stuff. And even the fact, if you look at it, I mean, I DVR'd the game and watched the game on TV with Georgia Southern, and I was impressed with the fact that they just kept turning the football over, but they never lost composure. They never lost or whatever. And I think, reacted and handled it like defending champions should when you look at it. I mean, because they could have, it was unbelievable the amount of times they turned it over, but they kept playing, they kept whatever, and played really good defense. And they just kept hanging in there and found a way to win the game and stuff. So that's what impressed me. But, when you look at it, I mean, you break down all their turnovers, which Coach Collins and them have. I mean, it was widespread. It was nothing. But it seems like to me now they've settled more on the quarterback. They settled more on what at least they did in the last game against South Al. This is kind of who we are. This is what we're doing. It seemed like they settled on that a lot more. And I think, as a result, they didn't turn it over and didn't make the mistakes.
Is there anything in particular that you could pinpoint to where a change from losing 4 straight to winning the next?
Well, I think some of it was three of those opponents are pretty good. Yeah, I mean that usually, plays in. I was, matter of fact, I broke that one down this morning. It's one of the last ones I've done, but I was impressed with Toledo. I'm talking about their offense and what they were doing. Although they had some good stuff, and really, I mean Auburn too, obviously, but Toledo probably moved it better on them and did more on them. They had a bunch of turnovers in Utah State. Utah State just offensively didn't do a lot, really, to score the 34 points. I mean, they got the ball at the 12 and the 24, I believe, and 2 more times inside the 50, and stuff. But that was more on turnovers, really, than anything else. But so I give, Toledo credit. Obviously, Auburn at Utah State, 27-20, actually, with 22 seconds left in Utah State when they hadn't scored, So, I mean, it was 27-20. And State actually went for it on a 4th down at like the plus 32 or whatever on 4th and 2 and got it. And you could see their whole sideline erupt like, yes, like that was. So, I mean, that game was touch and go really the whole way. And like I said, I would think probably, although UCA, Central Arkansas evidently has a pretty good football team. And, I would think probably that would be the one that, when you go back, because if they don't turn it over in that game, they're going to win that one too. Not really. No, they had an open week and, came back. But, they've really, like I said, after you take out, Toledo and Auburn, I think they've played really good defense when you look at those games.
Is there, you guys have any idea yet on Darian or Colton or Trey Hunter?
I would think they would, we'll have to see with Trey. I guess like I always say, I mean, I got to see him get out there and run and do stuff and see how they react to that. I would think that Darian would be better. He should be. He got hurt in practice Wednesday. We thought he would go. He couldn't go. Sam Miller had a hamstring the week before. We thought he would go. He didn't go. We thought he had a possibility of going. Let me say that. And then Colton got sick, and he got sick Friday. Whether it was altitude, whatever, and woke up the next morning. And I don't know if y'all saw him, but I mean his eyes were almost completely shut. And he just had a bad reaction to the whatever, and so we just felt like it was in his best interest to, been hard to play like that. So I saw him yesterday, and he seems, back home and seems better. But it's just one of those things. I mean, it happens, and but I would think for sure that he would be back.
You're talking about Arkansas State, Panther identity, Georgia Southern, Auburn, all playing their strengths. Are you still looking for that real team identity? How you play?
Yeah, I mean, I think we think we know what we need to do. It's just a matter of doing it. So Once you get down as fast as we got down the other day, you kind of lose your identity. You're scratching and trying to get back in the game any way you can. But no, I think we kind of settled in on some things and kind of what we wanted to do, and it just, those games are tough because your plans kind of get, you feel like players do, coaches to a certain extent too. You feel like, we got to do something, and so you kind of get a little out of whack, and then when that something doesn't work, and then you get further behind, and then that's what happened. And I felt like that was the game the other night too, and I told the players that it's important against a team like New Mexico, as good as they run the football. And believe me, you go back and look, they've gashed everybody. You got to get up on them. You got to control it. You can't just, you got to, make them do. And it's funny because we kept telling them, I told the players the other night, because what they weren't doing as well is throwing the ball. And that guy threw 3 or 4 dimes. He dropped them like, when we did get him in passing situations. The takeoff route he threw that I could have caught, the one on the sideline, when Backus had great coverage, you talk about a perfect throw. Because the defensive guys, the ball was down there, and I get out of the way of the defense. I'm standing, but I'm standing over there, and I could have stuck my hand out and caught it, but you talk about a throw. So he made some great throws. I give him that, but we kept thinking with a team like that, Georgia Southern, anybody else, you got to get them behind the chains. You got to get them, and if they play from behind, but if they get up on you, and all they got to do is run the football, and they're controlling the clock, and they're doing, those teams are hard to beat when they get like that. And like I said, one of the things I was over there praying for is that we win the toss, because I wanted to get the ball and try to move it like we did on Georgia Southern, and try to flip the field and try to get, and then we throw a pick six, and didn't exactly work out the way I wanted to, but I was hoping we win the toss, because I can promise you those option teams and all that they do, they were going to take the ball, like they have in every game. And I think let's see, what was that, their game? But in every game except for one, they scored the first possession they had the ball. And so, and then make it another one. Well, I'll say that they scored before they didn't have the ball.
Missing guy, like some of your leaders on missing trades, do you think that had any effect on how the team really didn't bounce back?
Yeah, but, no, it shouldn't have. Whether it did or not, I don't know. I didn't ask them, but it shouldn't have. Like I said, I just think that, from a coaching standpoint, and not putting it on them, but, we can do better than that. Regardless of the, like I said, what the standard is for better, I don't know, but it's better than that. I don't know how to define it, but I know what it is when I see it. It should have been better than that.
The importance of Ben and Duke establishing the run game when you're trying to work a new quarterback in.
We should, we wanted to do better, and we didn't. But I think both those guys are progressing. We just didn't, we knew that if you get to 3rd and long with all the stuff they had and everything, we knew that was going to be a problem and stuff. So we were trying to stay ahead of the chains and trying to do. And like I said, that didn't seem to work out either.
Is that something going forward, more run while Will or Caleb are trying to?
No, not necessarily. No, I would think that, so far this year, the production sometimes hasn't been there, but the balance has in terms of what we're trying to do. We became more against Texas State. We had the lead and had some stuff, but no, we want to continue to try. That was really more what they were doing. Like I said, just trying to, if we could, to stay out of the 3rd and longs and stay out of, and try, we wanted to, like we did against Georgia Southern, try to equal the snaps at 50-50, when they just didn't, because, Lord, with those running teams, when they get in a rhythm, they stay on the field. And, we wanted to try to, and they wear your defense down is what they do. So we really, wanted to try to stay on the field. Didn't work out, though.
How sick are you on playing these option teams?
Yeah, it's sometimes the thing about them is, sometimes you can, they've been doing this a while now. There's been years in coaching that you don't play one, and it just so happened that this year we had 2. And like I said, but we need to do better than that. But, you need some horses, to defend that and stuff. And, I said at the time, that wasn't the best time to play them. So let's put it that way. But yeah, but if we don't have to play option teams, I'd be happy to, because the main thing is the practice against it, and that's and we were pointing that out to the players. If you watch them, like the Air Force game when they played Air Force, New Mexico scored the first 5 times they had the ball, touchdowns, every one, and we were trying to point that out to them, but it's hard to simulate. They are hitting that thing so fast and so tight. And now what you do is in a course of 3 days, you go take a scout team, and that's what you're trying to make it look like. Here it is, and then it's hard to adjust. You really have to adjust to it and stuff, for the speed of it, and they do it very well. Give them credit. Well, I thought they do a nice job. They're very, very well coached, and they do a good job. Okay, thanks, guys.